Transformers more than meets the eyes. This is Chucky from Collecting for Fun, and today we are finally going to review this Titan Class Transformer known as Tidal Wave. Now, this is part of the Transformers Legacy United set. It is from the Armada Transformer line. So let's bring out the box here. So this is very cool promotion art of this transformer, and we had unboxed this on one of the last videos, and you can see it has three primary outside of his robot mode, which is just gigantic, his Titan size. He's got three main transformations. He's got this kind of a almost like an underwater submarine type of thing. He's got this kind of battleship form, and he's got this hovercraft form. He also can merge with, if we had the Armada Megatron, we can also merge with that. And let's turn this box around. It's quite, again, the box art here is impressive. There's the Megatron there, and he can do a super powered Megatron version. These are the back end, so you can see how he would look in his robot mode and then his base mode as well, and then how he will transform into the ultimate Galvatron form, I should say. And then these are the three forms of the fleet that he transforms into. And then he's got the power kind of hovercraft that he forms into, and his base mode. So he's kind of a triple changer, but more. It's almost like four different fleets. So that's the Armada Universe Dark Fleet. He's got the his kind of battleship mode, and he's got the his city mode, and then of course his gigantic Titan mode, which is terrifying if you were a transformer. So let's go ahead, and we're going to put the box to the back there, and we're going to concentrate on big boy here. This, my friends, is the Titan Class Tidal Wave. Now, Tidal Wave is, as I said, a Titan. He's in the Armada universe, so he's not in the G1 at all. I just pulled this thing off here. Where did this come from? It goes here, I guess. Oh, I got my son to put that back on. But this guy is just giant. So we got the head here, turns 360, so absolutely no problems with the head. The head sculpt's pretty darn impressive. If we tip that back, you can see he's got a very menacing face there. You can see the eyes there as well. I believe what's on his head is also rockets. So, so pretty impressive there. He's got the big beaming yellow eyes. He's got this chest plate full of weapons as well. He's got these weapons here. He's got these weapons here. Proudly Decepticon. So let's take a look. We're going to zoom back a bit, kind of see what his arms do. He's got ratchet joints, okay? So because he's so huge, these things, you can hear the ratchet noises. Arm goes around, all around. He can go up as well. There, arm does straighten, but you gotta really put that out. Both sides can go up and straighten there. Very huge. So let's take a look at the chest plate here. Or sorry, the torso. Let's straighten his legs a little bit so he doesn't fall over. There we go. So the torso, let's see how that turns. Torso does not turn at all. So he does all his legs move, arms move, and his head moves. The leg bend is pretty decent. Bring his legs out there. He can. I don't think he has a very much of a knee joint. He does, but it's not that good. It's very stiff. Okay, so just know that you can bend the leg. It's not easy to bend the leg. Can't do the splits. So he's a pretty big boy. Let's have a look at where is Omega Supreme. Let's take a look and see how he looks compared to other Transformers. So we have the instructions there. We're going to bring those out. So this is Grimlock. You can see this is the Studio Series Grimlock. And he made Grimlock look like a child next to him. And Grimlock's usually pretty big against most Transformers. But next to Tidal Wave, pretty small. Barely comes above his kneecap. Okay? So that is Grimlock. Now let's pick a transformer that's in the same universe. This is the Optimus Prime Armada, and we had a review on this, and he, again, even shorter than his waist. So, again, a terrifying sight. And this Armada is pretty big. This Optimus Prime Armada is pretty big, and this thing just dwarfs him. So, different line, of course, but we got the Omega Supreme, which I'm going to review soon, I would hope. But Omega Supreme, next to Tidal Wave, Omega is taller. Omega is at least a head taller than Tidal Wave. So even though Tidal Wave is very large and menacing, Omega Supreme still quite bigger. So that's there you go. Comparison wise, Omega Supreme still reigns supreme. So let's bring the Omega Supreme out. We're going to start to focus on the main event here, Tidal Wave. And we're going to show you the multiple transformations of Tidal Wave. So I'm going to leave it up to my son because this is his bad boy. And so we're going to go ahead and start to transform him into his first formation. So now Tidal Wave is very interesting as far as transformations because all his limbs come off. So that we're going to pull out his arms. First, I believe we're going to we're going to build the fleet first, I think, right? So we're going to push back his arm socket joint, turn that point in. We're doing basically the same thing on both sides. Flip that down. Let's zoom in on there and push that in. And then we're going to twist that up a little bit and kind of fold that in a little bit. And then let's do the same thing but opposite on the other side. We're going to pull this down, put that into place there, flip that up, turn this around, flip that down, turn and push that up. And then we're going to kind of basically push these pieces together. And this becomes the helicarrier, I guess, of the fleet, the Armada, this dark fleet there. Battleship. So there's the battleship. Let's bring that out. I'll bring the battleship out here and have a good look at it before we start transforming the rest. So you can see big Decepticon symbol there. And we got the guns up there. So that is the battleship. Let's have a look at the next part. So now we're going to tip that down. We're going to pull the legs out. So you have to slide them off. So you can see there's a joint on the main body where it slides off here. That's where you pull it out from. So let's have a look at the legs. So we're going to pull that piece out there. And we're going to open that piece up and kind of bend that out a little bit. Ratchet that big leg joint down and kind of hide it in there. And bring this piece down and that piece. We're going to clip those two pieces together. Make sure they lock in place. And this also part of the fleet. Now we're going to do the same thing with the other leg. And we'll pull that up. Pretty much the same thing we did on the other side, but the opposite. Open that up. We're going to tuck in that leg joint. And this kind of looks like almost like a ship, but it's kind of like a hover ship of some sort. It almost looks like I haven't watched the show, so I don't know if this thing flies, but it looks like it could. We're going to lock in the joint spaces right there. So we got to line it up, give it a little bit of a muscle there, and really muscle that together. Not the easiest. There we go. Give it a good shove in there. All right, bring the wing out again. Oh, it's not locking. So you can see there's pieces there that the locking mechanism. Huh? All right, so it's a little bit that we got to muscle this in together. So we got to open this up here. You can see there's one line there, and that's going to split into that joint in all three of these sections. So it's not easy. You kind of have to muscle that in. So I'm trying to help my son out because it really takes a lot of pressure to do this. So give me 1 second. We're going to get this in. All right, so we got it locked in. You had to really muscle it and make sure it's lined up properly. This is a pretty cool ship there. I think it's a kind of a ship. It looks kind of like a spaceship to me. It's got the wings, got the missiles coming out here. You can see the rockets in the back there. So I don't know if it's a ship, but I'm going to call this kind of like a ship. It looks kind of cool. It kind of looks like a spaceship to me. So whether it flies or not, no idea. It looks like it can go in water, and it looks like it can go in the air, but I don't know. I could be completely wrong about that. May not be able to fly at all. Anyways, the fact that it has wings kind of makes me think that it should fly. So we got two parts of this going on. This battleship here, this kind of hover spaceship type of thing going on here. And the last part of it is the chest piece. So let's go ahead and kind of see. So we got to transform this into the last part of the ship. We're going to flip this thing up. And we're going to basically want to cover the head. So bring that up. And again, we got to lock in that two giant pieces together. And again, we are in a different location than we normally film just because of the sheer size of the sucker. Bring this piece out. We're going to turn that around. So that is kind of neat. And we're going to lock these parts into place there. There we go. And we bring the guns and cannons out. And so this, to me, looks more like a super battleship. Bring the back pieces down and really fold them in. And again, very, very stiff transformer. And so to me, this thing looks like a super battleship. It's got the twin thing, kind of front parts there. We got the cannons coming out there. We got these cannons coming out the sides. So a lot of rocket power on this one. So this is like the super battle fleet ship type of thing. And so we got the three components. Again, this one to me looks like a helicarrier. We got the super battleship, and then we got this thing that looks like it could fly. All right, so let's have a look at the next transformation. Oh, it looks, what's that? So we have this thing that pops out of there. And what is that? It transforms into a small transformer. I don't know what you call it. Oh, this is for the, if we want to combine it to the Galvatron, we could. And so it transforms into this kind of thing here. It looks like a mini tidal wave battleship. And so I guess if you want to scale it, it looks like a smaller version of this thing. And we can also do over here a smaller version of the other fleet ship. Again, extremely, extremely stiff. Very hard to transform this because of how the stiffness of this is. So yeah, we have to bend this in. Ugh. Okay, so we're bringing these pieces out for the city mode, and we're going to lock those into place as well. Does it go this way? Yes, it goes more like this way. Okay, so we get those locked in. There we go. And we are going to continue to transform this into the full city mode. I think the city mode's next. So this is the second main transformation of this set, is the city mode. So I guess you can call this kind of like a quadruple changer, or maybe even five changer if you count the Galvatron transformation. So first set is the fleet. Second mode will be the city mode. Third mode will be the giant helicarrier mode. So yeah, this is better than a triple changer. We're bringing out some pieces there that we're going to need for the city. We got the ship, spaceship version here. So we have done what we're doing right now. We've done the fleet, Armada, Dark Fleet, and now we're going to do this city mode right now. So we're going to flip out this joint back out again. This is the part of the fleet part. We're taking that apart. So we have one part there, and we're going to take out the other part here and flip that leg back out again. Very, very stiff. You could, I guess, oil it if you want, but I don't know. I've never tried it myself, so I can't tell you if that will really mess things up or not. But yeah, very, very stiff transformer. So for the purpose of the video, we're transforming it. I like to keep it in either the final battle mode or the robot mode. Just, I think those are the nicer ones. All right, so we got the arms again. We're folding those together, and then we got this piece that we pulled out, pulling that apart. So again, this is kind of like a puzzle. Yeah, part transformer, part puzzle. So now we're bringing out this piece there, and this again, part of the arms, and we're going to turn that in. Okay, so we're going to continue working on the arm. Again, you got to be careful with that. We got a little splint there and a little folded into it. So again, very, very stiff. I have to say, Tidal Wave looks amazingly cool in his robot form, and he looks amazingly cool in a lot of his alt forms, but he is a very pain in the ass to transform. So we're going to bring that piece out there, and not an easy transformer. Not because there's a lot of knowing what to transform, but these joints are so stiff. Okay, so we got three parts ready, I think, a couple parts ready. Now we're going to get the main body ready, and then we're going to kind of combine them all together after. So we're going to lift off the main body. We're kind of twisting the main joint up, and you can see the ratchet. You can hear the ratcheting sounds. It's not easy to transform this guy, as I mentioned. We're going to lift that whole middle part, turn it around again, and then bring those arms down. And then we're going to bring this into the top part. Kind of lock it into the back of his head. And we're going to turn those turrets and pick them all off. All right, now we are going to combine the kind of legs back on to create the part of the city. Slide that joint back on, give it a couple of a double turn there, or double bend at the leg. There we go. And then we got the arms now. We're going to add on. We're going to turn that a little bit so we can get it ready to attach. And that's going to go back into the arm socket. There we go. And we're going to do the same thing, but the opposite side for the other arm. Again, that twists up. And we're going to lock that into place there. And we got this mini ship now. We're going to flip that up, and we're going to add that to the side. We're going to flip that attachment up so we can snap it in. There we go. We'll do the exact same thing on the opposite side later. We're going to just get this part ready here first. Ratchet that down. And we're going to attach that to the back. There. And we're going to attach this onto the other side as well. Again, you got to line it up properly. And hopefully you don't snap your fingers doing this, because it is very stiff to do. All right. Okay, so we just have a couple more things to add on. We're going to get this mini vessel transformed a bit, and we're going to add that into the main area of the chest. And we're going to add that under. All right, so now we're going to slide this piece underneath the main leg there. Just underneath. We'll snap that down. Okay. And then we just have to add the little turrets back on and snap them onto these little areas to create the weapons for the city. And last but not least, this part here. So this, my friends, is the city mode of Tidal Wave. And I have to say, of all the modes, this is my least favorite mode. It just doesn't look as awesome as the others. I mean, it is what it is. I don't know how, even city mode for Mega Supreme looks a lot better than this. You can see the weapons around it. So I don't know. For me, I don't love this mode as much as the other modes. So we're going to continue to transform this into the hovercraft or giant hovercraft mode as our next transformation for this gigantic set here. But you can see the weapons, the legs. I just can't say too much about the city mode because it doesn't really impress me that much. I think this is some rockets in the middle, but I mean, you know, how many mini-cons or whatever Decepticons can actually hang out on this thing, I'm not sure. Anyway, so let's transform it. We're going to continue transforming this into its last mode, which is the hovercraft mode, and then we'll transform it back into the robot mode, which is the mode I prefer. So we're going to put the arms, pull the arms out, fold that little piece in, pull that down, twist it, and then we're going to add this piece, kind of fold that down, and combine that back into the original body again, and then we'll add this piece back on. So there's a lot of kind of memorizing where pieces go. Pull this piece out again. It's a little bit tricky to get out, and that's going to help us combine. So now we're going to do the same thing to the other arm, but the opposite. We're going to pull that piece off. We're going to turn that down, twist it. We're going to add that piece, fold that up, and get that piece added back in. Fold that piece up, ratchet that in, bend that in, give it a good muscle there, and we're going to snap that into place there. And then we're going to add that little small piece back on there. And this will become the front part of the hovercraft. Kind of smush that together. There we go. Muscle that in. And we turn that up. All right, so that, my friends, is the front of the hovercraft. I'm going to kind of give that a good squeeze there. Ugh. There we go. All right, now we got the big body. We're going to get the legs together, and we're going to pull those up. Pull that up. All right, so again, we're going to flip that in. We're going to pull that leg joint and just kind of push that in so we can cover that. Keep going, and then we'll cover that up together. And then we're going to kind of take this thing apart and kind of hide in the components again so we don't lose them. Make sure that's in all the way. Oh, it looks like we had it upside down so that we can lock it. Okay, so that's that part. So they're going to be the kind of the back side panels of the transformation. All right, I'm going to add that to the side there. And we're going to do basically the same thing to the opposite side. Same thing, we're going to lift this piece up. We're going to ratchet in that giant joint. We're going to fold in this piece again so that we can kind of hide that piece so we know where it is. Fold that. We're going to add the little wing thing to the side there. Again, this is a very tricky transformer, so we got to kind of give it a good oomph. Get it in there. And bring out that side, these little panels so we can clip it to the main body. So now we're going to work on the main body. We're going to flip this joint up again, give it a Get that into position, turn it around, slap it down. We're going to bring up the arms a bit and kind of fold them down. All right, get them into the sides. Just going to lift and bend that middle part. So we got to kind of almost double joint that. There we go. And then we're going to add the hovercraft part to the smaller hovercraft part to the head. And then kind of line everything up and lock the arm or the kind of side panels to the main part to lock that into place. Make sure that's clipped in nicely. Give it a good muscle. Get in. All right, so we had to give that a good oomph to get that to clip right in there. So that's tricky. So this is the the main body there. Now we're going to clip in the two side panels. And so we're going to lift that around again. Plop this down, and then we're going to clip in the turrets. Get those on. So, and you can see where this is going. It looks starting to come together pretty nicely. And then we're going to get that side thing back on there. And we're going to start to get the back part ready now. So we're going to kind of bend the leg parts down and in so we can add the side components in. Again, very, very stiff. Going to give it a little bit of muscle. I'm going to clip that down or ratchet that down. We're going to also add that component back on there. So now we got the front completely ready. Now we got to clip these parts on. And this might take a little bit of muscling too. We'll see. I may have to give it a little oomph in there too. He's going to line everything up and see how it goes. Okay. So we had to kind of muscle this whole joint in, and we basically got to do the same thing. So the tricky part is on the side here, there's a spot here where this thing has to go into, and then we got to get this other things to line up. This little dot here has to line up into this part up here. And so everything's got to line up in there. So it's not that easy to line up. You got to do it kind of diagonally. That lined up properly. And then we basically got to muscle it in from there. So give me 1 second. I got to get lined up. Oops. It's all right, so we had to ratchet that sucker in. It's not easy to get in. So we had to really muscle that in. I think we got everything in there. We got one more. What is that component there? Oh, that thing just slides back into the bottom. So you don't actually see that afterwards. Unless you flip it around. Got to add the wing part back on. It just popped off when we did that. Okay, so my friends, this is the giant hovercraft with all the fleet combined into one giant helicarrier. I actually like this alt mode. It looks pretty cool. You can see the front part of it looks really nice here. We got these turrets coming out, the side wings. It looks pretty awesome actually. So this is outside the robot mode. This is my second favorite mode. As I said, I don't really love the city mode. The fleet mode looks actually pretty good too, but I like the fleet combined. So this is my second favorite model, then the fleet, and then I like the city last. So last but not least, let's go ahead and transform this back into its giant robot mode. All right, so we're going to lift off the side wings, which are the legs. Eventually will be the legs. And muscle those things off. And we're going to flip that part up. Again, I would strongly recommend, it's very hard to, describe all the motions. We're flipping this ratchet joint up to get the leg ready, flipping this down. And we're doing our best to show you how to transform it, but I think combination of watching this and looking at the instructions will definitely help. Flip the feet back and forth, and we're going to flip that side in. So now one foot's ready, the left foot, and we're going to now do the same thing with this foot here. We're going to flip that piece down. We're going to ratchet that foot forward, ankle or the back part of the foot down. We're going to flip this open, bring out the the leg attachment. We're going to ratchet that up. So yeah, we're going to ratchet that son of a gun up, cover that up, and get that leg folded in. So now we have the 2 feet ready. So let's bring out the 2 feet in here so we can kind of see that. And now we're going to kind of get the body and the arms ready. We're going to pull off the middle part, which is the hovercraft part, which becomes the arms. We'll get the middle part ready. So we're going to ratchet down the kind of the side joints to create the areas that we're going to attach the arms. So you can see that middle part has a slot in there. We're going to kind of muscle that in. And then we're going to flip out the bottom leg joints, leg attachments. So we're going to have to flip these things down. Again, very, very stiff. Very, very stiff, okay? And we're going to attach those. We're going to just basically slide them in. So leave that part's okay. And then we're going to tuck in the arm, future arm sockets there. We're just going to make sure that's in all the way, locked into place. You can see Tidal Wave's head there. All right, we're going to turn his head around. We're going to pull the middle part down and kind of spin it. Okay, it's got that little attachment where you can spin it, and then we're going to shove that chest plate down. And you can see that, for the most part, is ready outside the arms. So let's go take a look at the arms. We're going to pull out the arm connector and twist the arms ready. You can see the hands coming together. Again, quite stiff, so we're going to pull this part out, get his fingers out there. And we're going to bend his thumb in a little bit. And then we got to pull out the arm joint socket there. And basically we're going to do the same thing for the other arm. Let me bring that out here. Okay, so we're going to twist that, bend the arm, pull out the thumb a little bit, and then we're going to twist this thing around so we can bring out the finger joints and lock that in place. And then we're going to muscle this thing down. All right, muscling that down. And then basically we just have to get the arms ready. Oh, we're twisting that out. Okay, so now we're going to attach the arms. We're going to attach that to the, sorry, that goes to the left. Yeah, that's the left arm. We're going to muscle that in. Is it just pushing? There we go. Got to give it a little bit of oomph. And then we're going to give the other arm a little bit of an oomph. And my friends, whew, Tidal Wave is now done. That was pretty intense transforming this transformer. I have to say that you're going to have to put a little bit of, if you want to transform this sucker, you got to put a little bit of time in there. Now, my son has been playing with this thing for a bit. So, I mean, it's not that he doesn't know how to transform it. It's just those joints are so damn stiff, and you really got to give it a lot of oomph. And you can see how difficult it is to transform it. So I would say this: if you love the Armada series, you love Titans, one or the other or both, then I think you're going to really enjoy getting this Titan Class Transformer Tidal Wave. It is on the expensive side. This thing's close to like $300 Canadian, so it is not cheap. You're really going to have to buy Transformers and a big shelf for this to go on in order to justify getting it. Now, if you're more strictly G1, I don't know if you're going to like this one so much because he doesn't show up in the G1 cartoons. But to me, this thing was pretty impressive. I asked my son if he wanted it. He said absolutely. So we got that for him. But yeah, this thing is pretty darn impressive as far as robot mode. It's a bitch to transform, understandably, but I mean, it looks absolutely terrifying. And I think, yeah, as I said, very, very cool transformer. It is gigantic. As I said, we're gonna get again, bring out Grimlock. You can see how small Grimlock is. He looks like a child next to Tidal Wave. Again, if you like Transformers, you like this video. I know it's a little bit hard to follow just because of the complexity of this transformation. But if you like Transformers, we are working our way to getting 1,000 subscribers, where we're going to be getting ourselves a RoboSim Grimlock that auto transforms and walks and talks in both robot and dinosaur mode. I think that's going to be really, really cool. So once we hit 1,000, that's the video we're going to be doing, the unboxing of that, and then shoot a few videos afterwards on showing all they can do and pairing that with our RoboSim Optimus Prime to see how they interact. So this is Chucky from Collecting for Fun, and this, my friends, is the Titan Class Tidal Wave from the Armada series, Transformers United Legacy. So hope you enjoyed this Titan Transformer. We got a few other Transformer Titans to review, so look forward to those, and we will see you guys soon. Thanks so much for watching. Take care, guys. Bye.